Well, thank you for your compliment. And I just want to say to everyone, one is I want to honor your market center, understand that they went to the initiative and the cost to bring me to you. So they want to bring you the best, and that's their commitment to you. And I'm going to deliver on that in the next hour and 15 minutes or so. I'm going to really give you everything that I really have come to understand about lead generation and about bringing business to you to grow your career. So I'm going to just do exactly as what you said, dive into it and get at it. And we're ready to go anytime you are.
Dave, you are now a co-host, so you're free and willing to share. Guys in Milwaukee, welcome to the call. I just want to give a quick intro. We are very fortunate to have a good friend of the program, Dave Jenks. Dave is the co-author of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And as he just alluded to earlier, what I love about what he preaches, and it's true to today, is old school ball still works.
That's right.
And sometimes getting back to the basics to help you build the foundation to a really strong business is what people need to hear when there's a lot of noise in the airwaves.
Yes.
So with that, Dave, I'm kicking it over to you, and it's all you, my brother. Thank you for jumping on.
No, thank you, my friend, for having me here. And so here we go, everyone. Tray tables and seat backs in their full upright and locked position. Get your seat belts on and be ready to take notes. Here's what I want to do in this. I'm going to talk for about an hour and 15 minutes, and it's being recorded, so you can go and rewatch this. And I'm going to move so fast, you're going to want to rewatch this, because the game we're playing is a very complicated one. Real estate is not an easy game. People would come to Gary Keller and I, and they'd say, well, it's not rocket science. And we go, oh, yes, it is. Done at the highest level, real estate, the knowledge you need to have, the skills you need to build, the discipline you need to engage in your life is at the highest level of any performance. And we are we're talking about basketball. We're in one of the most competitive sports there are. Real estate is one of the most competitive entrepreneurial sports that there are. And it all actually comes down to the part we're going to talk about today, which is gaining the opportunity to do business, lead generation. That's where the competition is. One of the things to understand, I'll just underpin this. We just got the recent stats from NAR. Gary Keller shared them as he always does, as part of the vision speech. And what we see is that 73% of sellers only meet with one agent. They only meet with the one they list with. And another 18 or so percent only meet with two. So basically, one of the understandings is one of those 80-20 rules that 20% of the agents are going on their listing appointments unopposed. They're just walking in and taking the listing, or maybe competing against one other agent. And the other 80% of the industry is fighting over the other 20% using social media and a lot of other marketing opportunities, what I call passive marketing, to try and get that business. So the game you want to play is to be one of the 20% who gets their listing appointments and their buyer leads unopposed. You're the agent they want to work with. So let's dive into how we do that. By the way, for some of you who are brand new in the business, this will be a little like taking a drink from a fire hose. That's okay. Let it wash over you. Let the wisdom be there. Take as many notes as you can. Think to yourself what you want to go rewatch in this and how you want to craft your career. For those of you who are kind of stuck maybe at 20, 30 transactions a year and you want to kick it up to the next level, this will show you exactly the key way to use your time to do that. And those of you who are at the highest level, this will be a reminder to you of how to use offer response marketing to attract even more business to you from that you already have. Okay, so let's dive in. Here's the thing to remember. Lead generation is your number one priority. In your real estate career, the ability to generate business is your number one priority. Now, you may say, well, Dave, yeah, but I got to give good quality service. Of course. That's why we are in two professions. We say this in MREA, the best-selling book in the history of real estate, 1.4 million copies sold. The wisdom we say in there is that you have two businesses. And one business is the technical knowledge it takes to originate and close transactions. It's your knowledge of contracts and all the legal side. It's your knowledge of finance and all the ways that people can mortgage and finance their real estate, and then property evaluation, your ability to determine what a home will sell for, to accurately price it to get it on the market, but also how to make it worth more through staging. So by the way, that is an important part of the business. We're not demoting that. That's the fundamental service you provide. But the other side of it is getting the opportunity to do that. And I know tons of agents who are technically great real estate agents, but they're not succeeding at a very high level in real estate because they haven't mastered lead generation. Well, we're gonna lay it out today, right? Now, the first thing to remember is it's a mindshare game. Get this, I have people stand up and repeat this with me and get it into their mind if I'm face to face with them. My success, I want you to say this to yourself, my success in real estate will be in direct proportion to the number of people who, when they think of real estate, think of me. You got that? That's the self-talk. My success in real estate will be in direct proportion to the number of people who, when they think of real estate, think of me. So that, we call that mind share. Your job in lead generation totally is gaining mind share, having more and more people who, when they think of real estate, think of you. And of course, send you referrals and do business with you. We'll get to those, but that's mind share. It underpins everything we're going to talk about today, gaining mind share. Now, there's two ways you do it, of course. There's seeking and asking for business. That's called prospecting. And there's attracting and converting business, and that's called marketing. And early in your career, you want to become a master of prospecting, where you find people with a need or you build relationships and you ask them for business. And we'll talk a little bit about the key to that in a second. But prospecting for business is always the way to get the most business early in your career, and it doesn't take any money. All it takes is energy and effort and focus on your part. Then later, when you start to have business coming in, now you start to shift your lead generation gear over to marketing, where you put out offer responses and communication, and where people who need to sell their home or want to buy one will be attracted to you and come and reach out to you, and you will convert those leads into appointments, and you'll get that business. So it's a combination, always a combination of prospecting and marketing. Now, this is core. This is core. We say it there. We say it in MREA. Your database is your business. It's the engine that drives the lead generation game. It's where you capture people's information. It's where you get to know them and build relationship. And it's where you target your marketing and messaging that goes out, both your prospecting and your marketing, so that you get business, and then you keep track of it. So we're going to talk about that in a key way, but your database is the engine that drives your game, and it's the number one number you should track. There are 7 key numbers. We cover it in the book. There are 7 key numbers that you track in your business. And remember, what you track improves. What gets measured gets done. What you track improves. Those are the 2 fundamentals of running businesses. What you measure gets done. If you measure your leads and your listings and your conversions and your money, you'll get after that. And what you track on an ongoing basis will improve. And here's the one thing: the number of people in your database. That's the one key number to track. How many people do I have in my database where I have enough information about them to be in touch with them? So phone numbers and emails and snail mails, but also where I have information about who they are, where they work, where they went to school, where they, what their kids' names are, all that stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. But that database is the engine that drives your lead generation game. And that's why it's so powerful in Keller Williams that we have Command, which is the greatest database ever built for the real estate agent, because it has also all the marketing tools you will use in your lead generation. And it's powerful, and it extends into the consumer side, Command and consumer, so that they are linked So your local consumers are linked with you through your technology. Anyway, the database is the name of the game. We said it, 17 years ago when we wrote the book. Hasn't changed. Okay. Now, here's the winning strategy. TOTOT, time on the task over time. That's how you get good at anything. Time on the task over time. They call it the 10,000 hours, right? The people who've been writing about personal high achievement say it's not about inherent ability or some sort of inborn skill. It's the time people take to master it. Great pianists just practice more hours than people who aren't as good. Great musicians, great theater, great athletes have spent more times mastering their golf swing or their batting swing, their three-point shots, more than anyone else. They've taken time on the task over time. And the same thing as lead generation. That's why we say it's 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, but it could be whatever you want to make it. But the more time you devote to lead generation and mastering the skills of lead generation, the more you will win at that game. It's not about some inherent ability or skill. It's about your dedication, time on the task over time. Talk about that. And it's a numbers game. Marketing is always a numbers game. Lead generation is a numbers game. How many people did you call? How many people did you contact? How many people did you send a mailer out to? How much follow-up did you do? It's a numbers game, but it's a very strategic numbers game. It's not a numbers game like just put up numbers. It's a numbers game about put up the right numbers in a purposeful, meaningful way, and you will win the game of lead generation. Now, here's the thing. There's a mindset to say, I'm going to succeed at real estate, and I'm going to be intentional, assertive, and committed to my lead generation. I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to have goals. I know how many people I'm going to add to my database. I'm going to be assertive. I'm going to assert my power. I'm going to assert why people should list with me, why they should call me, why they should do real estate with me. And I'm going to assert that I'm in real estate. When you think of real estate, think of me. I'm always going to be saying that. And I'm going to be committed to do the time on the task over time, because it's never convenient. Just like being at this training, I want to honor those of you who are on this call today. This is really important. There are 39 of you right now on this call, probably including the group in your training room. And that is maybe more than that. And you people have really made a commitment to yourself to succeed in real estate, because you took time out of your schedule, though it was probably not ever convenient, to spend time with Dave Jenks, one of the all-time most expert people in real estate sales, real estate agent sales, who wrote the books on it, to listen to him and get inspired and directed by him. You took that time, and Gary Keller and I said, as we built Keller Williams University, that the thing that differentiate the highest achievers that we knew from those who don't do as much is they're learning based. They take time out of their schedule to develop, to train, and to get lessons from the best people that are in the business. So welcome here. That's the commitment. You've made that commitment, and I want to honor you for that. Okay. So here's the thing to remember. This has not changed. I know that Charlie said I was a little bit old school. And the thing is that I kind of am, because here's what I know has never changed in real estate since I've been in it. And that is, first of all, it's a local business. Everything in real estate is local. The values are local. The demographics are local. The market conditions are local. The regulations are local. The players are local. And the decision-making about who to list with or who to work with is local. So real estate is a local business, and it's built on three things: relationships, reputation, and trust. The more people who, when they think of real estate, think of you and have a relationship with you, they will do business with you and send you business. When they see the reputation you've gained and other people are talking about you, your referral business will increase. So you really want to work at building this local presence, relationships, yes, and reputation. And then all of this is built on trust. People do business with people they trust. People do business with people they know, but people do business with people they trust. So just understand that people do business with people they know, people do business with people they like, people do business with people they respect, and people do business with people they are referred to. So we say in the book, you want to build a referral-based business by having a core of advocates who, when they think of real estate and whenever they talk with someone about real estate, they talk about you. It's not an easy thing to achieve, by the way. It takes work on this over time. We're going to talk about how you do that. And then remember this, as we said, your database is your business, but I want to tell you there's 3 steps and you need to master all 3. Capture, connect, and convert. So the first thing you got to do is get your database in place. Get it organized, get it in place, have enough familiarity with it that you know how to add things to it, how to do selective mailings. You're going to take advantage of command training to know how to use this database. Now, you may have someone else, an administrative person or a virtual assistant or somebody who's doing the data entry on it, okay, some of the routine pieces, and knows how to send out the mailers and maybe, knows some of the technical side of it better than you do. But you need to know it enough to know that it's designed the way that you want it. And that you do 3 things: capture, connect, and convert. I learned capture from Gary Gentry. Gary Gentry was the gentleman who closed the first sale ever in the history of Keller Williams in 1983. And he's still with Keller Williams, and he and his wife Melanie run a great team in Austin, Texas. He's a great iconic agent in our company. And he said, Dave, and he told me this like 15 years ago, he said, Dave, what you and Gary Keller write about their database is your business is absolutely true. I have built my whole business and it grows because it's in my database. And he said, what you also teach, I really listen to, and you say capture, connect, and convert. And I do all 3, and I understand. He said, at first, I wasn't doing the capture part, and that's the big one. That's the one you have to do first. He said, every time I talk to somebody, I can get more information about them in maybe 20 minutes or a half hour than anyone else I know. I'm curious. I ask great questions. I listen carefully to their answers. I ask more probing questions. I really get to know them better than, but he said, here's what I will tell you. And that is that half an hour after I leave that appointment or have that interaction with them, half of that information that I learned is gone from my memory. It's just gone. I won't be able to retrieve it. And by the end of the day, maybe 80% of it's gone. And tomorrow I might meet them and not even remember their name. So here's what you have to do. He said, here's what I learned. You have to capture it. The minute I finish talking with anyone, even if it's a short meeting somewhere, like incidentally in a restaurant or somewhere in the community, or if I have an appointment with them, of course, after I have that, he said, I then verbally in my iPhone, in my smartphone, I hit record, and in 2 or 3 minutes, I record everything I learned about them, where they come from, where they went to school, their name, how they like their name either pronounced or said, their nickname. I learned their spouse's name, their children's name, where they work, what their job is, what their plans are for the future, anything I promised to do for them, their pets' names. He said, all of those things I download verbally because they're right there on my mind. I've got them right now. And I verbally download this. It only takes me 2 or 3 minutes, and I would never take the time to write all this stuff down. And he said, then I put their name on that file, and I send it to my assistant, and my assistant loads it up into my command database. Now, he said, now that's the capture. And he said, you've got to do the capture part. Every time you're out somewhere and you meet anybody or you have a meeting with them, you have to take that opportunity to capture that information and get it into your database. Now, here's the magic. He said, I call them back on a follow-up call, and up on their screen comes all this information. And I can say, hey, Mary, how's your son Jim doing down at A&M? Yeah, and how about your dog Scotty that you took to the vet? Everything work out okay? And that Mr. Brown that you were working with at work you're having trouble with, did you get that straightened out? Yeah. And how are your plans going for getting the house ready to sell? So he said, what they know is I know them, and they feel that affinity with me, and I will be their realtor for life. Why? Because I've connected with them. And I have that information at my command. But he said, here's the real secret. It's the convert. He said, because after I've called them 2 or 3 times and loaded that information up on the screen and used it in my conversation and updated it every time I update it, even if I have to do it verbally again, send it to my assistant, get that up in there, that it converts from the screen to my head. I really now have it in my computer. So now when I meet them out at a restaurant, I can ask them all kinds of questions about their family. I can introduce them to people. They really know that I know them. So he said, here's the process. It is your database, but it's not just a technical thing. Don't just think the database is some technical thing. It's a very human thing. And it's where you build relationships, and you do it by capturing, connecting, and converting. So make sure that's part of your discipline. That's what I would tell you. Make sure that's part of your discipline. Now, here's what we say. It's a little poem we put in the book. Build your database, feed it every day. Communicate with it in a systematic way. Convert all the leads that come your way. So put that little poem in there. It's a little repetitious thing about what it means, but it does mean get it built, feed it every day. In other words, the number of people in your database is the key number that you want to have. Communicate with it systematically. We'll talk about that. 8x8s, 33 touches, 12 directs. And then all the leads that come your way, you're going to convert them into business and build your momentum. Now, here's the key. You are only 3 hours a day and 2 years away of a millionaire real estate agent's database. Listen to that. You are only disciplined, time blocking, 3 hours a day and 2 years away from a millionaire's real estate database, which is about 2,000 people. It's a little under that, about 1,900 people who know you and you know them. And it's about doing 8x8s, which is when you first connect with them, you send them something once a week for 8 weeks, or you call them. There's a whole different set of schedules that are in there on page 189 and the pages just before that about how do you build your 8x8. By the way, there's a ton of 8x8 programs already in command for you to use. I wouldn't make them all passive. I would include a phone call or maybe some sort of a direct mailer. Not just, don't do everything just digitally. Don't do everything digitally. It doesn't build relationships as well as the personal touch or the things you send to them, right? We'll talk about that later. 33 touches then from once they're in you. So 8x8 cements the relationship and puts you as in their realtor slot. When they think of real estate, they think of you because of the 8x8. The 33 touches where you continually are reminding them of what's going on in the market, about what's going on with you. We'll talk later about the things you can put in that. A lot of things. And again, one of the magic things in Keller Williams, Command has a whole marketing section with all kinds of things that are readily made that you can personalize to you and send out. It's amazing the amount of intelligence and creativity that's there for you to just plug into. And then it's 12 direct. Well, first I'm going to talk about this. So what our research shows is that if you're in touch with people in your database, you've done an 8x8 and 33 touch, that ultimately, not immediately, but ultimately it will lead to a 12-to-2 lead generation ratio. What it means is for every 12 people in your database, you will get 2 pieces of business every year. Now, the reason we say 12-to-2 and not 6-to-1 is that it's 2 different kinds of business. One is they will do business with you. That's 1 out of the 12. And the other is they will refer you a piece of business. So that's why it's 12-to-2. Now, on page 189 of MREA, what it shows you is when you have that database, if it's strictly met people you know personally or have met and put in your database, that it costs you about $99 per sale. That's all. $99 per sale. That's what you've invested in lead generation. Now, if you add people's time of data entry and all that, maybe it's a little more, but it's not much, is it? But even if you only use a direct mail, what we call the 50-to-1 ratio, and you do it to a target area, that is for every piece of business there, it will be $300 per converted lead. But you'd invest $300 to get a full commission, wouldn't you? Of course you would. And for sure $99. So the reason that people don't do this is they don't understand the math. Do the math. The math is fantastic. If you do 8x8 33 touch, an average of 50 cents per contact, so some of it's, internet-based, no cost, some of it's direct mail, some cost, some of it's a phone call, cost of your time. The point is that will lead to this kind of ratio. And when you have this kind of ratio, you're on your way to a millionaire real estate agent business. You can do 50 deals, 100 deals, 300 deals. It's unstoppable once you master the lead generation part, but you got to get the front end started, build the database, capture, connect, feed it every day, do it consistently, and do it, 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. And you're only 2 years away from having that level of a business. Now, here's the key to getting it done. Time block for lead generation. It's 3 hours a day, every day. Page 79 of Shift shows you what to do in those 3 hours. Part of it's preparation, part of it's taking action, either calling people or sending out information, and then part of it's maintenance, meaning filling up, improving your database, getting it upgraded, follow through, doing anything you said, promised people you were going to do, or setting up appointments that have come out of that. So your 3 hours a day isn't just making phone calls. That would be naive and sophomoric. No, there are 3 things to do. You prepare, you get your mindset right about doing lead generation, creating your mailers, creating your message, and then you take action, either sending that out or making phone calls around your listings, and then maintaining it, filling that in. So it's 3 hours a day, right? That's the time on the task. By the way, time blocking is the key to accomplishing big things. Let me give you an example. People say to us, so how did you guys write the best-selling book in the history of real estate? 1.4 million copies sold, #1 on Amazon.com today, even though it was written 17 years ago. How did you do that when you guys only had about 8,000 agents in the company and you were trying to grow? You only had about 23 staff members internationally for everything. There were so many hats you were all wearing and tasks you were doing. How did you get that done? And my answer was Tuesdays with Gary. And they'd go, what do you mean? Every Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 4, Gary and Jay and I would meet in Gary's office and work on the book. 3 hours a day, 3 hours that day on every Tuesday. And if somebody tried to interrupt the meeting, Gary would say, no, please don't interrupt. We're working on the book. And so 10 months later, we had written the best-selling book in the history of real estate. 3 hours once a week. So time blocking is magical, and particularly sticking at the time blocking and the tasks you have set for the time blocking, and you will get results that are amazing. Now, there's a proven success formula. We used to teach it in Camp 443. That was our beginning sales course that Gary and I helped design, and he and I would do a video recording before every session. It's a wonderful old part of Keller Williams. But Ignite is powerful. But we had a formula that we said that if you did this for the first 2 years of your career, your success in real estate would be guaranteed. And it's 10-5-15-5. That's the formula. And here's what it stands for. 10 people added to your database every day, 5 days a week. Call 5 people you know and remind them that you're in real estate. That's 5. 15, send out 15 thank you notes to all those people you talked to or to anyone who provided service to you. And by the way, anyone who provides a service to you, a waitress, a clerk at a store, an auto mechanic, get their information because they will be part of your database. Your service provider should be part of your database. And that's 15. And then 5, preview 5 properties. Just make sure that you are really a student of the real estate game, that you know. And then of course, while you're out there previewing properties, you can meet neighbors and they can be part of your 10 or 15. So that's the formula. It's a guaranteed success formula, 10-5-15-5, 5 days a week, every week. Now, the heart of that is lead generation. And then I want you to learn from the role models that sit out there. And there's a bunch of role models, and many of them will talk on KW Connect. So KW Connect is a rich source of hearing agents talk about how they built their lead generation. My classic ones I remember, because of 3 different styles, is Linda, Jim, and Bruce. And Linda was the master of asking for business. She said the key to success, and she went from failing out of real estate. She'd been in it 4 years and was only making about $15,000 a year. She was ready to leave the industry. And then she said, Dave, I learned that I could ask for business and I could get business. I was waiting for business to come to me. And no, I learned you can go ask for it. And so she did. And then 8 years later, she has what we call a 7th level business. The McKissick Group, our systems are your solution. That's their cut line, their slogan. Closed 352 sales. Linda had 4 admins, 5 buyer specialists, 2 listing specialists, and a manager. She wasn't even managing it. She was 7th level. She was its owner. That's what we talk about in MREA. The ultimate goal, and we said this in our last class we did with you on MREA, is you have an option to get to that 7th level. But here's what she said, Dave. She said, I had to learn this. I had to learn how to ask for business and not be attached to the answer. Write that down. I had to learn how to ask for business and not be attached to the answer. Because what I learned is when you ask people, you're going to get a lot of no's. No, not now, not interested. No, fine, we're doing fine. No, we're not interested. No, don't bother us. No. But then she said, you'll get some yeses. And the only way to get to the yeses is through the no's. So she said, that's just how the game is played. A lot of no's, a few yeses. And she said, like I thought of myself as like a Major League Baseball player, right? If I go to bat 10 times and I make 7 outs, what am I? I'm an all-star. I probably was played in the game last night. I'm a multimillionaire for sure. And I might be in the Hall of Fame. Why? Because I'm a 300 hitter. But I made 7 outs out of 10 times. She said, there's a lot of sports, and real estate is one of them, where you make a lot of outs compared to your hits. Like she said, if I found here was my goal. Every week I would call 100 people. And she said, typically I'd get to talk to 30 or 40. Out of that would maybe be 3 to 5 appointments. And out of that would come 2 or 3 listings. So that's a lot of nothing happening, no's and all that to get to 2 or 3 listings. But she said, when I started taking 2 or 3 listings every week, whoa, the business just accelerated. And then I learned how to do marketing. So the point is, she said, you have to learn how to ask for business and not be attached to the answer, right? Important part of the real estate lead generation game. Now, Jim Droz said, people do business with people they know. And he said he was an Appalachian Kentucky boy who met his wife in college, and they got married, and she was from California, so they moved to California, and his teaching certificate didn't qualify him to teach school in California. So he said, what am I going to do, man? Maybe I'll try real estate. And then he said, I came to this realization that people do business with people they know. So he said, I set a goal. I had a 600 home market area, and I set a goal to meet every one of those homeowners over a 6-month period. And he met 590 some of them. And I'll give you a little later what his script was. It was amazing. But he met those people, and within 6 months, he had taken 37 listings. And he became, the reason I highlight him is he became the #1 selling salesperson in all of Century 21, the #1 world leading company at the time. He was the #1 agent for 3 years in a row out of Santa Clarita, California. When he began, his average sale price was only $70,000 out there. But he built those relationships, and then he communicated with them twice a month. And I'll tell you what he did in that communication a little later. But his business just exploded based on him going out and meeting people, right? And I'll tell you what he said later. And then another one was a great all-star in Keller Williams, Bruce Hardy. Bruce Hardy was a top producing agent in Spokane, Washington. He's now the regional director for Century 21 for the whole Northwest region. And Bruce was an Aussie, an Australian. And he met his wife and he was a restaurant person in Australia, came to the US, moved to where she was from. And he said, I realized that I didn't want to do the restaurant business, but I realized that I did want to do real estate and that the only way I would do that is to meet people. So he set it as his goal to meet as many people as he could and then get their information and put it in his database. And in 4 years, three to 4 years, he had 4,000 people in his database that he communicated with regularly. And he became top agent in Spokane. And it built his whole career. Great. Any of the training on KW Connect you get from Bruce Hardy is really worth paying attention to. So pay attention to what they have to teach us and master your scripts and dialogues, right? There's a whole set of scripts and dialogues. I have a thing called My Favorite Scripts, and I will send it to you. By the way, for all of you on this call, if you will send me an email, dave@kw.com, Dave, D-A-V-E, @kw.com, I will send you all these slides that I've been going through. I know some of you may have been taking pictures of them. That's okay. But I will send you all of these slides, and I will send you my favorite scripts, and I will send you the pages in MREA and Shift that are focused on lead generation, right? Because there's a whole section in MREA, but actually it's only 20 pages. If you go from page 133 to page 152 of MREA, it's only 19 pages, but it is the heart of lead generation. Then over in Shift, we devoted a whole chapter 4, Finding the Motivated, on how to do all aspects of lead generation. And then chapter 5, Getting to the Table, is how to do conversion. So chapter 4 and 5 in Shift. But if you took just those, and I have them highlighted in what I'm going to send you. So I will send you Dave's favorite scripts, all my prospecting scripts, and all these slides and the outlines of MREA and Shift. Send all that to you. Just send me your 3 ahas from this presentation, and we're only halfway through. 3 ahas that you got that really stood out for you. This is for you, not for me. I mean, I like the feedback of any comments you make and also knowing what you learned that was important, that guides me. But really, I'm doing it for you, because when you capture an aha, Gary Keller and I say it leads to implementation. When you get an aha from a training session, it leads to implementation. So you capturing your ahas will get converted into the way you're doing business. So anyway, master how to talk about things. We talked about this in Why List with Me, but master your whole idea of how you talk to people and how you ask for business. And then talk real estate all day, every day. You are in this game. Be in this game fully. Now, don't be boring. Don't tell all long, involved stories of things people aren't interested in, but be interesting and memorable. Talk about why it sold. Someone says, that house down the street sold. And you want to know why it sold? I tell you why it sold, and then you tell it like a story. By the way, that would be a great marketing piece to have too, why it sold, or how they bought. I just worked with some people. It's funny, they didn't think they would be able to afford a home in today's market, but we got them into one. And I'll tell you how we did that, right? How they bought, or any human interest. It's interesting working with people from a foreign country. It's interesting people working and coming here from out of state. Interesting that so many people are moving to Wisconsin from Chicago, or are moving from big cities in California. They love our area, whatever it is, right? Make it interesting, but talk real estate all the time, because remember, mindshare, your success in real estate will be in direct proportion to the number of people who, when they think of real estate, think of you. So you want to be talking real estate. Make it interesting, though, not boring. Now, there's 5 questions that lead to real estate needs. I'm going to cover those in a second. Just an easy 5 questions that you can take every conversation you have with someone and lead it to their need for your services, without saying, oh, do you need to sell your home? Or do you need to buy a home? right? I mean, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with asking simplified questions. Hey, who do you know that needs to sell their home? Oh, who do you need that you've been talking to about buying their first home? It's okay to ask those. Those aren't complicated scripts, and it's okay. Your success will be the number of people who you ask that question to. So, but there's 5 questions that lead to real estate needs that I've learned. I'm going to show you them. There's also then, I want you to know the Jim Droz neighborhood script, and you can do something like that. And of course, the open house script. There's an open house script. So I'm going to cover right now 3 of the scripts that I have in my Dave's favorite scripts, just so we're aware of them, right? And I will send you the full document of all those, dave@kw.com, your 3 ahas, all right? So let me just do a new screen share, and this one is right here, and here we go, and full screen. All right, so here are the 5 questions. They're just really easy. I learned these from Mike Ferry. They're wonderful. They go like this. Just memorize them. How long have you lived at this address? Where did you move here from? How did you happen to pick this area? If you were to move, where would you go next? And when would that be? That's it. 5 questions. So you meet somebody and you're talking with anybody. Oh, by the way, how long have you folks lived at the address that you're at right now? Yeah, I really love real estate. I'm just interested in that. Great. Where did you actually move here from? Oh, okay. From the south side of Chicago. All right. How did you happen to pick this area? Oh, the schools. Yeah, great school district here. And being on the lake, what a beautiful place. Great. And by the way, if you were to move, where would you go next? Really? You're thinking of moving more closer to Madison? Because okay, all right. And when do you think you would do that? Oh, like this summer. Great. Well, by the way, I can help you get there quickly and with all the right financial elements. What would be a good time for us to talk about getting your home sold and getting the right help in finding the best place possible in the Madison area? Great. Good. I'll be happy to help. See, right away. Now, by the way, it won't always lead to that. They might say, "Oh, we love it where we are. How'd you pick? How'd you happen to move here? How'd you happen to pick this area? Oh, we love it. This is so great. Well, if you were to move, where would you go next? Oh, we're not moving. We love this area. We're staying right here. Wonderful. Glad to hear that. By the way, do you know anyone in your area that is thinking of moving? So you can always lead it to another question. But the point is, see, these questions, without starting and saying, oh, by the way, when are you going to sell your home? Your curiosity leads them to in a very interesting way. How long have you lived at this address? Right? So what you really understand about prospecting and lead generation is it's very human and very natural, and you want to come from service. Write that down. You want to come from curiosity and service. That's where your script comes from. And if it leads, it's like Althea Osborne. She's a wonderful agent, number 1 agent in all of Keller Williams in Austin, Texas for years and years, and actually number 1 agent in the whole board for all those years. And here's what she would do. She would go to the local tech firms that she would see building up, because Austin's was a hot spot for technology. And she would see little tech firms opening up, and she could find out who the owner was. And then she'd go in and because she wanted to do it personally, and she'd say, Jim, my name's Althea Osborne. I'm with Keller Williams. By the way, I've noticed this new company that you've started here. So exciting. I'd really be interested to learn more about it. And by the way, I'd like to apply to be on your recruiting team. And they go, what do you mean our recruiting team? Well, I know that you're trying to get really good technical people to move here to Austin. And when you bring them in for an interview, I'll give them an area tour. I'll show them why this is such a great place to live. I'll have them talk with some other people. And then if you decide to hire them, I'll even help them find a home. Would you like me to do that? Isn't that powerful? Isn't that powerful? So ultimately, I'll help them find a home. But the front end was, I want to be on your recruiting team. See, come from service of what they need. And what they need is to know that that you're there to help them in any way you can. So let me show you how so that was Althea's script, and she got so much business. They did bring her on their recruiting team, and after people would leave, they would ask her, Althea, should we hire them? What do you think? How were they? What did they have to say about the company? What did they like about the area? And so she actually did become part of their recruiting team. And of course, they all listed with her. They all bought with her, and then they all listed with her, and it led to a massive business. So come from service. That's your best prospecting. Ask what they need. All right. So this is the 5 questions. Here's the next one. This is the Jim Droz script. Remember, he said he was going to meet 600 homeowners, and here was his script. He'd knock on the door. He did 5 or 6 a day, every day, 6 days a week. And in 6 months, he had met 590. And here was his thing. Now, I'm saying I'm with Keller Williams. He said he was with Century 21, of course. So knock, knock, knock. Hi, I'm Dave Jenks with Keller Williams Realty, by the way. I'm sorry really to bother you here at home, but I have one question I'd like to ask. May I? Great. It's my goal to make this the best possible neighborhood to live in. What one thing could I do or cause to be done that would make this a better place to live? Well, Dave, that stop sign down at the corner has a bush in front of it. And I think we have some rear end accents. It'd be good to get that bush cleared away. Great. I'll take care of that. Dave, we're really worried about what's going on in the school district. We're not getting informed about what's going on. Could you get us on a newsletter or something? Sure, happy to do that. Or they'd say, Jim, you know what? Can't think of anything. And then his response would be, great. Thank you for your time and that idea. I'll do everything possible I can to see it gets done, and I'll let you know what happens. Okay? Bye for now. Oh, by the way, when you think of real estate, think of me. Thanks. And then he would have their information. He would get their information, and then he would send something to them every 2 weeks. And under marketing, I'll tell you what he sent out. It was powerful. But that's how he made his contact. And remember, in just 6 months, he took 37 listings, and then that built the foundation for his whole career. That's how he reached out. But see how softly he reached out? I'm sorry to bother you here at home. I only have one question I need to ask. And it wasn't about selling homes. It was about how can I make this a better neighborhood to live in? See, what a great offer of service. Now, let's look at another door-to-door script that I would highly recommend around open houses. And this is just, again, it's a knock-knock or a call. You can call around open houses, but every listing you take is an opportunity to get a sale. So here it goes. Hi, ring, ring, ring. Hi, my name's Dave Jenks, and I'm with Keller Williams Realty. I just wanted to let you know about an important event. May I let you know that? Great. I've been retained by Mr. and Mrs. Smith at 123 Main Street to handle the sale of their home. And one of the special services I'm providing to them is to personally invite you as a neighbor to an open house I'm holding this Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. Now, this is a great opportunity to determine who your new neighbor will be. Who can you think of that has talked about moving in this area? Great. I'll give them a call and personally invite them. Wonderful. Or if you think of someone, be sure to give them a call or just bring them to the open house, and you're welcome to come also. Great. Thank you. I appreciate your help. Oh, by the way, when we do this much marketing of a home in an area, it brings many more interested buyers. So this would be a great time for anyone in this area who needs to get their home sold quickly. Do you know anyone that fits that description? Who do you know? Oh, you guys need to sell. Okay, wonderful. What would be a good time to talk with you about doing that? Okay, tonight would be great, right? Now, if they say, well, no, can't think of anyone, say, great, listen, thanks for your time and your help. I think this is a great neighborhood to live in, by the way. And when you think of real estate, think of me. See, great script, master the script. You're there with a service. By the way, you're also there for credibility. So-and-so has retained you to handle the sale of that home. Right away, you're credible. And one of the special services I'm providing them is to personally invite you, not to invite all the neighbors, although that's what you're inferring, but no, to invite you as a neighbor to an open house we're holding. Make it very personal to them. Does that make sense? Yeah, good, good, good. So there's 3 scripts among the many that I have. And so master those scripts of how to ask for business. Now, Sherry, give you another example. Sherry Puffer from Asheville, North Carolina. I learned this script from her. It's a for sale by owner script, and she made her whole business on working with for sale by owners. And I was her coach, and I would hold her accountable. And here's how it would go: she'd make 30 calls. That was her goal. 30 new calls to for sale by owners, not repeat calls. 30 new for sale by owners. You'll see how she did it. She would do 8 or 10 what we'll call pop buys. You'll hear what a pop buy is. And that would lead to 2 or 3 listings. So every week out of 20 or 30 calls, she would get 2 or 3 listings. What a neat thing to do. Well, why? Because for sale by owners need to sell their home. And here was her script. Ring, ring, ring. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. My name's Sherry Puffer. I'm with Keller Williams. Is your home still available for sale? Oh yeah, it is, Sherry, but we're not going to list it. We're not going to work with a realtor. Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah, great. I was just wondering to make sure if it was still for sale, because what would be a good time for me to pop by and help you get it sold? Listen, Sherry, we're not going to list with a realtor. No, I know. I'm not there to get your listing. I'm there to help you sell it. I just would like to pop by, take a look at your home, give you some ideas, and answer any of your questions and help you get your home sold. Well, listen, Sherry, but please understand, we are not going to work with a realtor. We are not going to list our home. No, I understand that. I really do understand that. I'm not there to list your home. I'm there to help you sell it. Well, really, Sherry, come on. Why would you do that? Well, there's really 2 reasons. One is, if someday you decide that you do want to list with a realtor, then I'd like to have a chance to interview, but that's not really my reason. My reason is I help people sell homes. That's what I do. It's my commitment. Some people hire me, some people don't. I don't care. I help them sell homes. So let me pop by. What would be a good time for a pop by? And I'll help you get your home sold. No obligation. They go, well, okay, Sherry. I mean, tonight would be okay. Can you come by around 7? Absolutely. I'll be there. By the way, remember, no obligation. I'm just there to help you get it sold. Any questions you have, be sure to let me know. Great. And that was it. I mean, that wasn't a pure script in the sense of like, oh, just repeat this, but you heard the rhythm of it. I just want to help you sell your home. Why? Because that's what I do. That's my profession. I help people sell their homes. Some people hire me, some people don't. I don't care. I help them sell their home. Isn't that beautiful? Talk about coming from service. Well, what would happen? She'd do 8 pop buys and get 3 listings. Why? Because after they met her and walked around and talked about things, and she asked them some questions about disclosures and repairs and things like that, and where they were going to market it, they'd say, well, you know what, Sherry, maybe we should list with you. Would you take our listing? And of course, she'd say, well, let's talk about it. She wouldn't jump. Well, okay, maybe let's talk about it, right? And then of course she'd take the listing. So just understand that the way you approach, master those scripts and dialogues, they're powerful, okay? Now, there's a general formula for a lead generation script. It goes like this. Introduction. Hi, I'm Dave Jenks with Keller Williams. Cushion, I'm sorry to bother you here at home. I know it's your private time. I just wanted to ask you 2 questions. Reason, or I wanted to give you 1 piece of information, or I wanted to invite you to an event, a reason. Then you say what it is. By the way, I'm doing a survey of the area and I'm wanting to know how long you've lived here. And then second of all, where did you move here from? Great. Those are the questions. I'm just trying to see, it's my commitment to make the homes in this neighborhood more valuable. And when people sell them, that they increase the net income that they get from those sales. I mean, that's my commitment. I am the neighborhood expert in this area. So thank you for your help with that information. By the way, are you folks thinking of moving at all? Okay, see? So it's intro, cushion, a reason for you to be there, the exchange of information, and then a closing question, which really has to do with, do they need to sell their home, right? That's the formula. It's a simple formula. You can use it. in any way. You can craft it in any way. Just remember, that's the formula. It's an important formula. Now, Chapter 4 of Shift really takes this whole lead generation thing to another level. It's all about find the motivated. And it's about understanding who your target market is. We typically recommend a geographic target or a demographic, young first-time buyers or professionals, teachers, medical workers, whatever it is. It could be that, or people that are older and need senior issues, right? To get a reverse annuity mortgage or to downsize or move, or divorces, right? I mean, all of those, you want to know what is your target market that you're going to, and then I just want to re-emphasize the power of a geographic farm, because it gives you focus. You're not running around all over the place, and it gives you saturation. If you take 10 listings all over Milwaukee, right? It won't have much impact. It'll have some impact locally. The neighbor will see your for sale sign. But if you have 10 listings in a neighborhood, oh my God, you are the go-to person. So you're wanting to create saturation, and then of course synergy, because the sale of one helps the sale of another, and that's all it. So do not discount the importance of a geographic farm for all of your effort, and it targets it. And I know agents that have very upscale. I know an agent, Jan Ritchie in Dallas, who has an upscale farm area of 2,000 homes, and she knows that area inside. Now, she keeps her own closing file. On every sale that closes in that area, she'll interview the selling agent, the buying agent, even if she wasn't them, and she will keep it. She knows accurately what it's sold for, any repairs that were done, and anything that's included. And when she goes out to list people's homes, she'll say, by the way, I'm an expert in this area. I have my own closing file for every closing that's happened here in the last 10 years in this area. So I know what they really sold for. I know what makes homes worthwhile. And I know how to market your home to get you the highest possible price here, because I am a master of this neighborhood. See, that's what it gives you the power to be. And it simplifies your business, honestly, simplifies it. Now, that allows you to be the neighborhood guide, the resource, as we say in the book, in the book Shift, to be the economist of choice. And by the way, put a big star here. The most powerful marketing technique are just listed, just sold cards, right? Mike Ferry once taught me early in my career. He said, Dave, the secret to real estate is list a home, tell the world you listed it, sell the home, tell the world you sold it, go list another home. Listings are the name of the game, and it's the core of lead generation. So around all your listings, you should be doing marketing, heavy duty marketing. Because when somebody hires you to sell their home, you get instant credibility in that neighborhood. They pick you. When it sells, you get a reputation. Oh, wow, they got it sold. And the more of that you do locally, the more that your business builds. And of course, people begin to trust you. So just listed, just sold. And then what you do, and this is what Jim Droz did. He did it on a monthly basis. Another top agent I know by the name of Janet does it on a listing by listing basis. When I asked her, she was number one in her MLS for over 10 years. And I said, so what was your number one marketing technique? And she said, oh, easy, just listed, just sold cards. She said, that's how I did it. She said, I would list a home and I would send out 200 or 300 just listed cards that said, so-and-so has retained me to handle the sale of your home. Here's a chance to pick your new neighbor. If you know someone you'd like to move to this area, call me today, right? And there was this call to action. Then after it's sold, she said, I'd send out 200 or 300 just sold cards. And here's what it would say. The following home just sold. And now listen to this phrase. The sale of any other home impacts the value of yours. If you need to know the value of your home or would like to sell it, call me today. Again, call to action, but with a powerful reason. The sale of any other home impacts the value of yours. If you'd like to know the value of your home or need to sell it, call me today. So I'm just telling you, just listed, just solds bring you credibility, reputation in an area, and people start to trust you and send you referrals. Now, so every listing is a marketing opportunity. Go to page 151 of MREA. See, a lot of agents make the mistake of listing a home and putting it in the MLS tomorrow. That is silly. You want time to load up your marketing program, to get it ready, to get set out, right? To get your just listed, just sold cards out, to stage an open house, to invite neighbors to it. And by the way, that will serve your seller because that will get them more attention and a very likely multiple offers and a higher price. So this idea of listing it and putting it on the market right away is not smart. It's not smart for your seller, and it certainly isn't smart for you. Use that opportunity to get your marketing all loaded up, fire it out, and then if it sells right away, fine. The marketing still went out. You still get the credit for it, right? You still have it's going to lead more opportunity for more buyers and more sellers for you. So every listing is an opportunity. And here's the thing to remember. First, you become dominant as an agent in that area, and then you expand, right? First, you pick a target market, you become the dominant realtor there cost effectively, and then you expand to an adjacent market. And that's how you grow your business. That's how Jim Droz became the #1 agent in all of Century 21. He started in this little 600 home development in Santa Clarita, and then he built it to the whole market area that he served. Okay. Now, just a couple. I'm going to hit this really lightly, although this is important, and this comes out of chapter 4 of Shift, and it's master the offer response marketing. This is where you get to the point where you have enough business that you don't necessarily have to prospect for it, or maybe your team member will, but now you can do marketing less cost. And it's based on two things, the message and the method. You want to know the market, what's the message? Like in today's, it's who you list with matters, because just getting your home sold is not the key. Getting you the most money and taking care of the complexity, that's what you need. You need to be promoted and protected in this market. Don't just list with anyone. Lots of people can get your home sold, but they won't get you the most money. I will, call me today, right? So you make the message relevant to the market. In another market, like we had the one we had in 2007, 2008 through 2010. By the way, who you list with in this market really matters, because it's difficult to get homes sold. And some of us are really good at it and others aren't so good. Make sure that you list with someone who can really get the job done. Call me today, right? And then your method is whether you prospect or whether you market. And the message must match the market. And then you make an offer. And we could do a whole seminar on this. There are direct and indirect offers. An offer is where you put out an offer to the marketplace and a call to action. One of it might be, you want to get the highest price? List with me today, call Dave, right? That's a direct, right? If I can't sell your home, I'll buy it myself. That's a direct offer, call me today, right? If you need to get a home today, I will help you get that home. Call me today if you want to get a great buy. I have a best buy list for homes on the market. If you want to get a best buy, call me today. Those are all direct. Indirect, though, is where you make an offer. Free CMAs, a free report of some kind, be creative. Here are the 3 mistakes that sellers make. Here are the 5 things to consider in making your home more valuable. There's a ton of, by the way, there's a ton of these free reports on Command, on the marketing section of Command, and you can tailor those to yourself and make them creative, make them real for you. By the way, I maintain a best buy list that I update every day. If you want to know what the best buys in today's market are, call me. By the way, the important thing is to understand why homes sell. Let me tell you the story of why this one sold. Click here and I'll tell you that story. Do a click through, right? Money saving, no refi, no closing costs, guarantees. If I can't sell it, I'll buy it. We have lots of agents who may have moving vans available. If you need a moving van to move, please call me. We've got this moving van and there's all specialized companies for insurance and a big picture of you on the side of it. Party supplies. I know an agent that that has a whole warehouse full of party supplies. If you need a margarita machine, if you need a popcorn machine, if you need something, call me today. I've got it available to my clients and favored customers. And, so they become a customer because they're interested in the party supply or home equipment, sanders, high pressure washers, carpet cleaners, whatever. Just gather those together and then rent them free to but there's a reason for them to call you to get their name, number, get them in your database, build your database. Lots of indirect offers you can make. I know we're skimming fast on a creative thing. And so any opportunity you have to start and build a relationship is a really good opportunity to use. And then one final thing I just want to say is the key is get in the path of businesses. Go to business, of real estate business. Go to open houses, go to community events, school functions, chambers of commerce. You can join networking organizations. Don't let them take too much of your time. Do community service, be on fundraising committees. Gary Keller was on a fundraising committee in his local community, and he said they watched how good a job he did running that committee, and they were so impressed. And they asked him what he did, and he said, "Oh, I sell real estate." And he said, "I can't tell you how much business I got because they saw how good I was at running these meetings, and that blended over to their sense of me as a real estate agent." Do seminars. I have a wonderful agent who does once a month does a how to build a business seminar for the children of her clients. She promotes it out, and of course, and their friends. They have to be a teenager. They have to be, I think 14, between 14 and 20 years old. And then she does a seminar on how to build a business. And she uses write the stuff out of MREA. Other people I know do investment seminars, built their whole business on investment seminars. So doing your own educational events. Always have with you a notepad, not business cards. Do not hand out business cards. As Gary Keller says, it's a waste. They won't save it. They won't return the call, and they think that takes care of everything. Say, "No, gee, sorry, I don't have a card with me. Tell you what, though, I've got this pad. Let me write down. What's the best contact information for you?" Great. Okay. How do you spell your name? Yeah, I got that right. Best email address for you personally? Great. And what about your cell phone number, just in case? Okay, got that down. Great. I'll send you my information. And then you do. Now you follow up and you get them in your 8x8 program. The first one is you're sending them their information. Now they do have your information, but the important thing is you have their information. And that's what gives you control of the relationship and the lead generation process. And then remember, you just want to be the realtor of choice. When you think of real estate, think of me. Always let that end every conversation. By the way, when you think of real estate, think of me, and get your name and picture everywhere. Because it's a personal business. People do business with people. And I know a lot of people, we talked about this in our last session on branding, but a lot of people have changed their generic name like Ben Kinney did. He started out as homesforinvestment.com, and he changed it to Ben Kinney and Associates, and he's the #1 agent in all of Keller Williams. And I asked him why he did it. He says, because people do business with people. Even though I'm not the one who contacts any of them. They work with my team members, but they want to know that there's a person behind this. So use your name and picture, get it everywhere. Only use social media as a backup. It takes a lot of time. You've got to be very attentive to it. There are techniques. If you're a real specialist in social media and social marketing media and getting people to respond, search engine optimization and all that. But I have found there's only a handful of agents who have mastered that, and it takes them virtually full-time to do it, and they're full-time lead generators. And so they only can do it by referring their business to other people or to build a team. But it's even hard to build a team if you're spending all your time doing presence and branding. But remember this, all of the branding you do is first it's personal and then it's promotional. Remember, it's really, there's three things I say in any marketing material: make it personal, local, and real estate related. Personal, local, and real estate related. So here's the thing. I want to just close with the summary of this. Lead generation, it's a competitive sport. It is, but play it smart. Use those techniques we put here that no one else does, and do it with time on the task over time. Number two is it's a contact sport. So reach out and touch. There's two numbers that drive your business, the number in your database and the number of contacts you're making on a daily basis, either personally or through mailers and information that you send out. Keep track of those two things, the number of people in your database, the number of daily contacts that you're making. It's a contact sport. Lead generation is a marathon. It's not a sprint. People do a lot of front end things. All of a sudden, they're sending out a whole bunch of stuff, and 3 months later, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a mailer from an agent where I live that says, I'm the expert locally, call me for this, call me for that. By the way, I'm going to keep people informed. And there's all these promises. And then 3 months later, they're done. I'm not hearing anything more from them. Why? Because they weren't a marathoner. They were a sprinter, right? Play the long game, not the short game. Play the long game. Have endurance in this. Lead generation is about hits and outs, just like we said, the Major League Baseball players. Sometimes you get a hit, sometimes you make an out. Sometimes you get a bunch of times you get a no, sometimes you get a yes. But make sure you take your at-bats. Make sure you go up to the plate and try and get a hit every time. And then, lead generation gives you more opportunities to serve. It's a high-minded venture. It's not just a greedy business venture. It gives you more opportunities to serve people, which is what you want. And you know what? You owe it to people. You owe it to them for you to let them know you are in real estate and you really provide service at a high level, because you want to give them the chance to choose you instead of them accidentally getting hooked up with someone that's not as good as you. So in a way, you owe them getting your message out to them, right? And then we would say, as we always say in Keller Williams, think big, aim high, which means being willing to do the work, and act bold. Be willing to do that which you're currently uncomfortable doing, right? Think big means to see as possible that which is not now true. Aim high means to do whatever it takes to succeed. And act bold means to do that which you're currently uncomfortable doing. And there we go. By the way, remember, send me dave@kw.com, your 3 ahas. I will send you all these slides. I'll send you my favorite scripts. I'll send you the 2 detailed guides to MREA and Shift, right? Just give me your 3 ahas and take the learning opportunity that creates for you. But we're open now for if anyone wants to either chat in a question. The question was, did it come in, do you do the 10-5, 15-5 on a daily basis? Yes, 5 days a week. Or some people prefer to do Saturday because there's more people at home and available. It's a better time to knock on doors or make phone calls because people are typically home on a Saturday morning and they're in a good mood usually. So the point is, though, it's 5 days a week, 10-5, 15-5, 5 days a week. That's the consistency. And repeat the email. I did Dave, DAVE @kw.com. There you go. Yep, Keith put it in. Thank you, Keith. Just on top of it. Good. So anyone else, if you want to put a question in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask it, or or share an aha. What out of this time together, stood out for you, or was a good idea that you're going to take advantage of? What do we have? A bunch of there must be some more assertive people here, more curious and assertive people. You can't ask a bad question. Okay, what was the marketing item that Jim drove? Okay, good. We got a bunch coming in. What was the marketing item that Jim Droz followed up with after his neighborhood drop by? Oh, what he would do is, thank you for asking that question. He really kind of followed through on the just listed, just sold card. So what he would do is, once he met them and he said, thank you, and he would always send them a note. That was his first part. Thank you for your taking time with me. By the way, here's what I've done. I've called the school board, or I've called the Department of Transportation, or whatever it was that they wanted him to follow up with. So he sent them a thank you note and a follow-up. And then he sent them a mailer. In this case, it was a direct mail, because we didn't have the internet at the time he was starting. And that probably made it better. He would send out 2 mailers. They were actually self-mailed things. In other words, it was a one-page sheet folded over and with a piece of tape on it. It was just, I mean, you could do it systematically, but I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be professional. It can be amateurish. Anyway, what he would send out was, the following homes have come on the market. So he would say, in the last month, the following homes, or in the last 2 weeks, the following homes have come on the market. If you know someone who would like to move to this area, call Jim today. Now, he got a little bold at one point. He started putting, and no one called him on this, he put out, we have listed the following homes, even though they weren't his listings. Because he said, I'm a member of the MLS, I pay my board dues, we work together to sell homes, so I can use we. I didn't say I said we. And so he was bold. He said, we have listed the following homes. Now later, when he became the dominant realtor, he'd say, I have listed, or the following people have listed with me. And if you know if somebody wants to move the area. Then the second mailer he would do out, and by the way, he did 2 mailers to all his geographic farms every week. Every month. And the second mailer would go, the following homes have sold. And I got the line that I shared with you from him. And the sale of any other home impacts the value of yours. If you want to know the value of your home or need to sell it, call Jim today. And then he'd have his number at the bottom. So the one was a call to action for buyers, the other a call to action for sellers. So it was his version of just listed, just sold, but it was very personal because he directed it to them and he made it reflect the neighborhood. So that's what he did. And I will tell you, he would tell you that I went to training that he did. I got to know him personally. And he said, yep. He said they really, once they got to know me, and then he'd send out some other things. He'd have a little note in there about his family, or he did scholarships to people. He said, if your child, has straight A's, let me know, and I will send them a congratulatory letter. So these people would let him know. And then he would send it directly to their child and with a little gift certificate to some store. So he did a lot of things that were promotional to his database. So that's what he did. No, Naomi, you don't have to apologize. That was a great question. Because I think I did say that just listed, just sold, but I wasn't clear about how Jim did it. He made it much more personal and local. And also one of the other things that he did, and this is just a way to stand out from everyone else. He had a friend of his who was a good cartoonist, was a great, just kind of simple cartoonist, black and white. These were not color mailers at the time. That was too expensive. These were black and whites. But he had a friend, and once a quarter, I think, he would send out a cartoon. And they were all real estate cartoons, real estate related. How a homeowner looks at their own home, how a buyer looks at it, how an agent looks at it, those classic things. But they were funny. His collection of cartoons were really funny. And so he just had this great sense of humor, and he made fun of himself. And so here's what I'm going to tell you is, when I say make your mailers personal, local, and real estate related, those are the 3 key things. They should be focused on the local area, show local homes, show things that are going on in the local. Make it personal. Make sure you address it to them personally, and that as best you can, the way they like to be addressed. Not Elizabeth, they like Liz better than Elizabeth, or they like Beth, that you're addressing it that way. It's not bad to include personal stuff about you. Mary Harker, one of the agents we highlighted in the back of MREA. She was a dominant real estate agent in Dallas, worked with with Jerry Jones and several of the Dallas Cowboys in finding homes. But she would include once a quarter news about her family. Oh, we just got back from a vacation to Colorado. We did this. I want to honor the fact that my son Dan just graduated from college. And here's the reason: people want to know you personally. So you don't have to overdo it, but it's not bad to include personal information. And I want, or thank the school for what they've done, or anything that relates to the local business and to you personally, and then make sure it's real estate related. A lot of people use other things like recipes and garden hints and all that. And I think that distracts. I think you want to make it about real estate. People really want to know about real estate, and you want them to think about you when they think about real estate. And then someone asked, what did TOTOT stand for? Time on the task over time. T, time on the task. I guess there's an extra T in there. I'll drop the V. We'll drop the V out. Maybe it's TOTTOT, but time on the task over time. And what that means is that anything you want to master, put time on that task. If you want to master your scripts and dialogues for your listing presentation, work on them daily. Time on the task. Spend half an hour a day working on your scripts and dialogues for your marketing or your listing presentation, or what, just to answer the question. I teach this in my Why List With Me workshop, which you guys have had there. So go back and listen to that. And so do that. We say 15 minutes to half an hour a day, work on your scripts, your scripts for asking for business, because you want to memorize, internalize, customize, and capitalize. I mean, it takes time to memorize a script, and you should really memorize it exactly as it's written. So we say do that. And then the more you do that, if you do that for like 50 weeks in a row, you will have mastered those scripts. You will have them. They'll be just automatic. And the same thing is doing the 10-5, 15-5. If that becomes your habit, you're adding 10 people to your database every day. In 2 years, amazingly, you have a millionaire's database. And now all it takes is repetition. 8x8, 33 touch, for them to really clearly get in touch with, when they think of real estate, they think of you. So good. Any other comments or questions? Well, send me your ahas, dave@kw.com. And, I know we've covered a lot of material, and that was my idea. I wanted to give you the whole picture of every key aspect of lead generation. Pick those things that seem like they will work for you and get after them, right? But just remember, real estate is a local business driven by relationships, reputation, and trust. So anything you do that gets you in touch with people, links you with real estate, and in a repetitive way reminds them that you are in real estate and you know the market and you're sharing what goes on. Don't spend too much time. See, I think people spend a lot of time doing way too complicated things. They'll want to send out a newsletter, and they'll do this whole thing on a newsletter. And you sending out a mailer shouldn't take you half an hour to design. Because make it simple, make it direct. A great friend of mine in real estate, who is a great top agent, sends out, now he does it in two ways. He does it in his email feed first. He sends out his positive thought for the day. And he spends a lot of time putting together, meaning overtime, capturing what he thinks are positive thoughts. And then he sends them out. And he says, here's Dave's positive thought for the day. And people start to, and then of course, if you need real estate, call Dave is at the bottom. But he sends that out. And so that's his thing. Others use inspirational quotes. They send that out. Others do, as I said, they'll do a seminar, or they'll do things for the children. But find something that is unique and service oriented and sets you apart, and let that be the theme of what you mail out, right? But the consistency is what matters. Adding people to your database consistently, mailing something to them systematically, 33 touches. That's what we say is the key, 33 a year. That means virtually one every 2 weeks or two every 3 weeks. And the just listed, just sold cards fit in that. So you can send that to your target market for sure, but also you could send that to your database. And remember, don't get real fussy about who you add to your database. As I said, the local auto mechanic or the waitress that waited on you at the table, or somebody, a clerk that served you in the fashion store that you go to. Get their name and number and start communicating with them, because they all know people. And they, even though they may not own a home, they'll refer somebody to you that needs to or wants to. A lot of people talk about, I need to filter my database. I need to get it down. I need to downsize my database. No, you never downsize your database unless you're getting, kickbacks on mailers that you send out. Okay, yeah, that's a waste of money. But what you do in your market, and it's in the section on lead generation. I think it's about page 138 or 40, is we show you the game of the inner circles. So you're trying to take people from the outer circle, people who you'd like to meet, but you haven't, into the next circle, which is people that you've communicated with or met once, and put it to then people that you've had an appointment with, and then people who've done business with you, and then inside that, people who've done multiple business with you, and then people inside that who've sent you a referral, and then your core group, which is people who've sent you multiple referrals. And we call it your advocates. So you do want to be keeping track in your database of the amount of work they've done to help you, the times they've done business with you, and the referrals that they've made to you. That's just so fundamental. That's why we say your business is your database, because that's where you're keeping track of relationships, keeping track of the ongoing nature of that relationship, and then being able to target your communications to the people in there based on their geography, their demographics, or the amount of business they've done with you. Anyway, I hope all that's been helpful. Thank you, thank you. It's a complicated game we play. There's a lot of ways to play it. I hope that some of the ideas that we've shared today will guide you in what you do. And again, I want to thank Maureen and Mandy and Charlie for having me here with you. Really, please say thank you to them and let them know if this has been valuable to you. Please do that, and be sure to email me. Okay, your 3 ahas. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.